Hey everyone, Tim here from TMR Customs, and I just want to give you guys another update on where we're at with our KOH prep. So it's first week of November, and shout out to anybody who does this YouTube or content creation stuff for a living. This is my fourth time trying to shoot this video. First time I shot it vertical, which, hey, sweet for the gram, but not so much for the tube. And the other two times I shot, I ran out of memory on my camera. So let's see if, thought it was gonna be third time's a charm, but we'll see if fourth time is a charm. So we're horizontal to start, and we'll get right in the action. I'll kind of show you guys what we've been working on, the progress updates on the stuff from the last video. And again, we're new to this, so post comments, ask questions, just tell us what you like, what you don't like, and ultimately what you want to see from us here at the shop. So a few things. I think last time we took a look at this power steering pump there from Radial Dynamics. So good news, it's in. We created a new bracket that mounts it to our existing setup. So you can see our alternating relocation kit's there. Our trophy truck pump used to reside right there, but now it's the radial pump, which uses a different mounting pattern and whatnot. So you can see these trophy trucks, they're like a 3-bolt pump. Here's a couple of them there from last year. And the radial is this 4-bolt pattern. So Mike and John got that drew up, sketched a little bit of cardboard aided design and fit. And then, yeah, that's been laser cut. But you do a little bit of machining on it to get it to sit the right distance from the other parts. But basically that bracket there is what you're seeing in the car holding the pump in place. Nice thing is, I don't know if you can see it well, but yeah, our belt length stays same. Tensioner is gonna work. So the nice thing with that is our good pump that came off the car last year still works for us as a spare. So we'll keep a bracket with it. But basically that other one can come out if it needs to. This one can go in. Steven on our team is gonna lend us a second one. He's got the same as one of these. We've got a second bracket. I think it's, yeah, right here. So yeah, and basically at each pit at KOH, we're gonna have a spare pump. Probably a good idea. I mean, these things see a pretty hard life down there. So yeah, anyways, we're covered there. Transmission, we were looking at this SCS and this Magnum box last time. So it's primarily built, so that's the transmission side of it. That's part of the transfer case side of it. There's another mount in there as well for the transfer case. And we're just working on getting this final fitted and shifter. Obviously, we've got to shift this range box between high and low. So high is just 1-to-1, low range is 2.72, and then that gear ratio is going to be multiplied by the gear ratio in our SCS, and will give us kind of our final ratio out of there. So we're working on putting in a cable shifter. So this one's from Advanced Adapters. Our buddy Bill McGibbon kind of helped us out with what's in one of his trucks. He's got that same Magnum box set up with an SCS and a IFS build of his. So yeah, he said he's got this kit from Advanced and it works. So yeah, shift box there, lever, Heim on a cable shifter, and down to there. So yeah, we're working on mating that cable shifter to that. This will be back in the truck, and obviously it's another shifter that'll go in there, and that'll control that Magnum box. We got to make some modifications to this guy. This is the adapter between the Turbo 400 and the Magnum box. Like anything out of the box and you're mixing aftermarket components, it always seems like something needs to be modified to suit what you're doing. So we've got to move a couple whole locations just to kind of optimize this to the clocking for this guy in our chassis. I believe I covered it in the previous video, but we swapped from flanges to yokes. So 1350 yoke on the front there. Got our 1350 yoke on the back. And then yeah, that's 1350 yoke on that Tube Works unit up front. And same deal on the Tube Works unit on the back. So that's sweet. Less spare parts to carry, less tools to carry. Yeah, just try and make things easy, make the vehicle very serviceable and easy to work on. So along with those drive shaft mods, the mods on the SCS, we've lowered our carrier bearing. So previously it sat up higher and it worked fine, but we broke our drive shaft at KOH. It got into the bell housing here. So clearance was tight basically between that yoke, the bell housing, and down here to our third member. So we've lowered it, bought ourselves some more clearance there. I don't know, you probably can't tell from the front because it's gonna be a little bit busy. But yeah, I've kind of optimized the height of that carrier. It's better clearance, and we're gonna be able to run a larger diameter drive shaft. Last year we were 1 3/4 quarter ball. This year, based on some recommendations, we're gonna try 2 1/8, 1/88 or 3/16 wall. So yeah, we're stoked. We'll have a bigger diameter shaft here. It'll be the same for the back. So yeah, we measured for those last night. So tacked that carrier bearing in, fully cycled the suspension up, all the way down, ride height, provided those dimensions to JE Reel, who's gonna build our drive shafts. Same in the rear, you can see car sitting at full extension. We put it at ride height, put it fully compressed, measure all that stuff out. So the rear shaft, it slips just under 1 inch, which will be totally acceptable. And the front shaft slips, I think 3/8, or it might even be down to 1/4 inch. So totally acceptable as well. So yeah, drive shafts ordered up. They're on the way. Something else that's new, these 3.0 Radflow Evo Series shocks. So they make those in conjunction with Wayne from Alltech. You can see there, this Evo Series. Sweet, bigger tubes, bigger reservoir. Problem for us, this reservoir, it's 3.0. Our old shocks, that reservoir was a 2.5. So tire now hits it. So full swing on this guy, fully stuffed on one side, fully drooped out on the other, and tire makes contact with the bottom here. So I think we're just gonna have to switch that guy to a remote reservoir, and then we'll have to mount that remote reservoir on the frame. I'm thinking it's gonna go right here, because the remote reservoir mount right above it there, that's for the reservoir on the coil shock, which is just chilling up in there now. So that's kind of where we're at this week. Yeah, a lot of it was finishing up the driveline mounts. So you can see we're tabbed in there in 3 spots. That's for the transmission mount there and the transfer case. That mount I showed you earlier. Second mount over here for the transfer case. So yeah, that's all kind of ready to be painted, and that's ready to be done. This carrier bearing, it's gonna sit tight until we get the drive shafts here. We'll put them in the car, fully cycle everything, make sure everything's good there, and then we can do the final welding on it. We put a seat in last night, just one seat, to mock up where that shifter is gonna be. We think the best spot for it to reside is between the 2 seats. Up on the dash could be an option if we had to, but I think on the 2 seats is gonna work out pretty well. And just a couple other things we got to improve things around the shop here. We picked up this guy, and the big reason for it is this sweet wire wheel over here. Most of our fasteners, when we put them in the car, we use thread locker and everything. Obviously, we don't want stuff rattling apart. When you take them out though, they're covered in thread locker, makes them go in and out a little bit of a pain in the ass for future maintenance. So now we can wire wheel all our hardware. Seems super simple, but we've already been doing it, and it makes life much nicer. Another one related to that is this stand. So like drew up this mount, that's basically a mounting foot. This tube here I'm cleaning up, it's gonna weld into the foot. This top piece is gonna rest on the top of that tube, up on that side there. And then that grinder is gonna mount to that pedestal. We'll put a couple of rubber feet on it so it doesn't wanna vibrate away. It'll stay nice and in place. Heavy wall, I think it's 5/16 or 3/8 wall tubing. So yeah, it'll be a nice, robust, heavy mount that it's not gonna go anywhere. And then it's been cool working on this new welding and fab table. So that's like a new 2x3 size we make. I've just got this one the table's fully built and fitted. The leg kit's new, it's kind of just tacked, mocked in place. Turned out pretty badass. Photographed all that stuff with Eugene from EH last week. So that stuff's all live on the website. But yeah, it's cool to, obviously we gotta come up with the idea, draw it, laser it, photograph it. But for us, the payoff's actually using it in our shop. So this thing's been super handy. I got it kind of over here as a secondary station near a little compressor, so we can do sanding and finish work. And then obviously the welding's kind of done. In that back corner there behind the screens, we kind of got a simple cell. So all that welding's done in one area. And then what else do we got? Oh yeah, another one. Adrian got the front axle shafts installed there. So the Spider Tracks axle shafts are back home inside their Spider Tracks axle. They just need greased and they'll be good to go. And then Steven's freshly shanked us a couple bolts everywhere. So yeah, tie rod inners and outers as well. We just thought those have seen some a bunch of cycles in and out, and obviously they don't have the easiest life being on the front of a car and doing all the steering duty. So yeah, they've been replaced. And then next week, Adrian's gonna go through all the links, basically pull them, inspect all the hardware, replace anything that needs to be. That's bowls, misalignments, heims, etc. But we expect all that stuff's in good shape. Another new one we got is these valve covers from Brian Tooley Racing. Reason we went with them, back here, dash 12 breather. So, and then yeah, maintains the fill in the factory spot. But that breather is gonna help us out. Last year we were running a vent line to our intake. It worked awesome motor-wise, but when you rolled, took oil into the intake, which is obviously far from ideal on an off-road vehicle. So we tried just running them to atmosphere last year and taking them out of the intake, but unfortunately that pushed out a crank seal there. So we had to change that in the desert. Our buddy Nacho hooked us up with all the tools. His son grabbed the seals for us. Super helpful. And Adrian and Mike got that swapped out in the desert. But yeah, we asked Josh West at FTA how we could improve that. So he said you need dash 10 or larger breathers, one on each cover. So yeah, you see the one there. So we'll run probably some push lock or braided hose. We'll get that from Racetronics and run one on the passenger side. Swing around here, driver's side's the same deal. So it's got that breather tucked up there near the firewall on the back of that guy. And yeah, we'll run those to a big catch can, 3 sides and down atmosphere. We haven't quite figured that out yet, but that'll be a work in progress and something we gotta add to the list. So that kind of covers our prep progress for this week. Feeling pretty good about where we're at considering it's November, but we do want to get the rest of this driveline stuff in so we can test the car before the snow and salt flies. We kind of want to heat cycle everything, cruise with this SCS, check out the drive shafts once they get in, just make sure all that stuff's in mint shape before we hit the desert. And then that way, if for any reason there's an issue, we can fix it here in our main shop and hopefully not in the dirt. And next week, Mike and I are flying to JV. We're going on another pre-run trip. So we'll be down in our TMR pre-runner, which is another one of our TMR chassis. We bought that one off a local customer. We can do a video on it, kind of show you guys what that's all about. But yeah, that covers it. So we'll have a video coming out soon that covered our last trip to JV and another one covering that future trip. So yeah, comment with questions you got on the race car, race program, shop, whatever. Let us know what you're into, and we'll see you guys soon.